Have you ever wished you could see the future? Know what's coming next? It sounds like a superpower, right? But what if that power came at a terrible cost? What if, to see the future, you had to forget the past, moment by moment, until you remembered nothing at all? This is the chilling story of Julian, the man who lived his life in reverse. Our story begins not with a birth, but with a disappearance. In a quiet, forgotten town, an old man named Julian simply vanished from his home. There was no struggle, no note, just an empty house filled with strange, unsettling objects. The townsfolk whispered that he was a recluse, a bit of an eccentric who kept to himself. But those who knew him, or rather, those who had met him, told a far stranger tale. They said Julian didn't get older. He got younger. Let's rewind, or in Julian's case, fast forward. Decades before his disappearance, Julian was a vibrant young man, new to the town. He was charismatic and seemed to know things no one else could. He could predict the weather with perfect accuracy, tell you which stocks would soar, and even warn neighbors about accidents before they happened. People were amazed, calling him a prophet, a genius. He would smile a sad, knowing smile and simply say, "I remember it." But there was a catch. While Julian could recall tomorrow's sunrise in perfect detail, he struggled to remember yesterday's conversations. He carried a small, worn-out notebook, frantically scribbling down names, faces, and events. He'd write, "Met Sarah today. She has kind eyes and a laugh like wind chimes." Must not forget Sarah. But the next day, Sarah would be a stranger to him again, and he'd have to read his own handwriting to remember the connection they just made. Imagine the loneliness of that existence. Every new friendship was a fleeting memory, every shared laugh a temporary joy. He remembered the heartbreak of a breakup before he even experienced the first date. He mourned the loss of friends he hadn't yet met. His future was his past, a long, detailed history of events that hadn't happened. His actual past, the moments most of us cherish, was a blank, empty void. As the years went on, the man everyone knew as Julian began to change. His hair, once gray, started to show flecks of brown. The wrinkles around his eyes seemed to soften. He was aging in reverse. The townsfolk who had once marveled at his predictions now looked at him with a mixture of fear and pity. He became a local legend, the backward man. His notebook became his entire world. It was filled with desperate entries. Today, I learned to ride a bike for the first time. Again, I am told I have a daughter. Her name is Lily. I remember holding her as an old woman, but I don't remember her birth. His own life was a story told to him by others and by his own frantic scribbles. He was a spectator to his own existence, watching a film that played backward. He remembered his own death clearly. He described it to one of the few people who dared to listen a quiet, peaceful fading away in his sleep. But he had no memory of his birth. For him, the beginning was the ultimate unknown, the final mystery. While we all start as a blank slate and fill our lives with memories, Julian started with all the memories and watched them drain away until he was a blank slate. The town watched as Julian became a teenager again, then a child. He was placed in the care of the community, a boy with the eyes of an old man who had seen everything and remembered nothing. He would have moments of startling clarity, reciting complex physics or lamenting a stock market crash that was years away, only to be confused by a simple children's game moments later. He was a paradox, a living contradiction. One day, the child Julian was gone. He had become a baby. The community cared for this strange infant who rarely cried, whose eyes seemed to hold an ancient wisdom. And then, one morning, the crib was empty. Julian was gone. He hadn't been taken. He had simply ceased to be. He had reached the beginning of his life, the point of his own creation, and vanished into the nothingness from which he came. All that was left was his collection of notebooks, a fragmented backward diary of a life lived in reverse. And the legend of Julian, the man who remembered the future and forgot the past. His story serves as a chilling reminder. We all want to know what's coming, but maybe the real magic isn't in knowing the future. Maybe it's in making memories, holding on to the past, and living each moment as it comes. one precious second at a time. What do you think? Would you trade your past for a glimpse of the future? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more mysteries.